Hey guys, and welcome to today's session. In this session, it's a pretty simple overview of Darwinex Zero as a company, who we are, what we provide to our traders, and why everybody should have a Darwin, which is an account with Darwinex Zero. Now, like I say, this is I've just seen got this. I don't know why. I don't know how to get that off. There's an error message on my screen. Just let me know if you can see it, because if you can, that's annoying. I'm going to try and get it off. But I don't want to click something and it completely messes up the screen. But as I say, this is kind of a bird's eye view over Darwinex Zero. We don't go into too much detail when it comes to risk calibration, the risk engine, how we calculate your value of risk, all of that sort of stuff, because we have more advanced sessions later on in the week where we kind of go into, the calculations, how it's made up, and what contributes to all of these different risk factors. Today is more about who we are, what we offer, and how we can benefit you. So to begin with, my name is Kieran and I'm head of UK growth and business development for Darwinex Zero and Darwinex. Now, a little bit of an overview of Darwinex, which is our sister company, parent company, however you want to call it. Darwinex is an FCA regulated asset manager and broker, and we also have a hedge fund license too. We do hold three separate regulations or certificates of regulations, one by the FCA in the UK, one by the CNMV in Spain, and also by the FSA in the Seychelles. We currently have over 100 million US dollars invested on our platform, and that's from third-party capital outside of Darwinex. And we have over 10,000 active strategies on the platform too. And I always call our traders strategies in this instance because we do have traders who are trading multiple strategies or multiple trading systems with us. Now, at a very base value, I want to look at what is Darwinex Zero. Now, at base value, we are the only place that you can become a professional asset manager with zero risk. And note here, I say asset manager and not trader, because to me, the term trader is very inconsistent. You can open up a brokerage account, with any unlicensed broker or unregulated broker, place a couple of trades, deposit a couple of £100, and you would therefore become a trader. I can just see there's a message in the Discord from Reed saying that he can't hear me, so I'm just going to take a look at my microphone settings and make sure everything is right. Can anybody else confirm that you can hear me? I know the MediTrader has already said they can hear me, although Reed's saying that there's some issues. So if somebody in the Discord could please confirm, that'd be absolutely fantastic. So going back to my point about trader versus asset manager, to me, a trader is somebody who opens a broker account and places a trade. Anybody can be a trader. To learn how to become a professional asset manager, where you take the responsibility on your shoulders of managing third-party capital, it takes time, it takes a lot of effort to be consistent over time and to really act like a professional. Opening and closing positions with, relatively poor strategy or no strategy at all isn't how you become a professional trader or a professional asset manager. We encourage professional asset management. We provide our own capital. We provide access to third-party capital. And we also have the Darwinex Hedge Fund, which invests into our own traders with our own capital. So we want to find the best traders and turn them into the best asset managers that we can possibly do Secondly, we offer the best place to develop as a trader because we provide you with so much information about your own trading strategy, about you as a trader, and also about your risk exposure on average over an extended period of time. We will give you insights that categorically tell you how much risk exposure you take per position. In fact, I was about to get into something deeper then, but I realized this is a Tuesday session, so we like to keep it light. But we'll look at your position risk. We'll look at insights on how long you hold trades, your best performance times, and all of that sort of good stuff. And I actually run weekly sessions on these metrics on a Wednesday. We changed them to Wednesday recently at 4 p.m. UK time, where I go over these statistics and metrics in deep detail. I do it for somebody who's live on the session, but I make it accessible so that you can go away, analyze your own Darwin, and take away from that what you will. And thirdly, we also have a fantastic community of like-minded traders. Our Discord is creeping up to 10,000 active members. I'm hoping within the next month or two, maybe we'll hit that milestone. But what we have is a community who, like I say, are like-minded. There's nobody there to get rich quick. Everybody is there to treat trading professionally. Like I say, become a professional asset manager and not just, trade to make £1 million in the next sort of 24 hours. Now, the roadmap that we have laid out for the guys who come through Darwinex Zero to become a professional asset manager, there are a few different steps. Now, firstly, we have the calibration phase. This is often misunderstood by a lot of traders because they think it's akin to a prop firm challenge, and it couldn't be more different. The calibration phase is simply a period of time where our proprietary risk engine learns about your trading behavior and understands how much risk exposure you take on average. It's not a pass or fail assessment. It is simply just a period of time where we read your trading behavior. From that, we gather how much risk you take to generate your return. And then once you come out of the calibration phase, which takes roughly 3 weeks, we then risk adjust your strategy to create your Darwin. Your Darwin will always be created over the weekend. So if you was to come out of calibration phase on a Thursday, you would wait till the following Monday for your Darwin to be created. Once it's created, you're automatically entered into the DarwinIA program. So the first level or the first tier of DarwinIA is DarwinIA Silver. As you can see, it's actually the second step on this roadmap, and I'll go over as to why that is in a moment. So we have DarwinIA Silver, where you can earn monthly allocations that last for 3 months. They range from €30,000 to up to €360,000, and they are cumulative, so you can stack them up month on month. Like I say, they do drop off after 3 months, but if you continue to perform well, it doesn't really matter because one will drop off, another one will get stacked on top of that. It's a monthly competition between all of our traders, so any trader on Darwinex Zero will be in DarwinIA Silver. Now, if you build a track record of 8 months plus, and you hit a few different performance metrics, for example, 20% return minimum with a minimum return to drawdown ratio of 2.5. So that would mean if you had a 20% return, you would need something like a 7.5% drawdown, no more. If you had a 10% max drawdown on your track record, you would need a 25% return. If you hit those performance metrics, then you will be migrated to DarwinIA Gold after your track record hits 8 months old. Once you're in DarwinIA Gold, the DarwinIA allocations become bigger. So they actually range from 50,000 to 500,000, and they now last for 6 months instead of 3 months like they do in DarwinIA Silver. Again, they are cumulative, so they do stack up month on month. Now, I'll go over the rating in a moment because every Darwin, which is the trading strategy, gets a rating. And in DarwinIA Silver, your rating is what determines how much DarwinIA allocation you get on any given month. Works a little bit different in DarwinIA Gold, but like I say, we'll go over that shortly on another slide. Now, what runs in tandem with this is the permanent allocations that we released towards the end of 2024. And a permanent allocation is exactly what it says on the tin. It's €100,000 permanent allocation that you can activate within your Darwinex Zero dashboard. Once it's activated, you can either check that you want a growth target or for the allocation to be instant, which would mean as soon as you've activated it, the €100,000 would be there and your next trade would count towards performance fees. Again, I'll go over this shortly in another slide because we break down the different growth targets and what it actually means. But a permanent allocation is our way to show you that we're committing to you permanently as a trader and as an asset manager. And the fact is that we want you to grow with Darwinex Zero and we want you to stick around, which is the main thing. Our interests and our objectives are aligned with all of our traders. We don't want to see our traders fail. We don't want to see our traders consistently lose money. And we really want you guys to grow over years. You know, even if it takes 5 years, we want you to grow from coming in being a trader to being an asset manager that we can allocate real capital to. And I say real twice because you can't get any more real than real. The next ladder or the next rung on the ladder to become a professional asset manager, we have the investor marketplace. Which is, as I mentioned at the beginning of this session, it's run through Darwinex, which is our FCA regulated broker and asset manager. we hold, or we attract investors to the platform, and then we advertise your strategy to them in a regulated environment. Now, if you're going to go and attract third-party capital on your own, you obviously have to make sure that you're accredited to do so. So you have to conform to different regulatory requirements, which can be expensive, it can be really hard to do, and you can be rejected for it. If you're trading through Darwinex, you come under our regulatory umbrella. So all your compliance is handled. All of your risk is handled because we do it all for you. Hence why we risk adjust your strategy to ensure that we're protecting investors at the same time. But you basically get free exposure to investors who you never would have met or never would have had to go and network with. And then lastly on the list, we have the Darwinex fund. Now, this is called Darwinex Labs. It's our in-house hedge fund. We trade with our own capital and we allocate that to our top performing traders. So I think as of right now, we have roughly 200 traders in the Darwinex fund. What I'm going to do quickly is bring up I'm going to bring up the actual Darwin for this. I'm just going to stop my screen share for a second whilst I change it. Okay, you should be able to see my screen again now. So if we take a look at the Darwin, which is INDX. Now this is our hedge fund. So our hedge fund, again, it runs through a Darwin. It's our master Darwin that invests into, I think, roughly 200 traders. And this is what currently is available on Bloomberg Terminal, but we are opening it up to the public very, very soon, ideally within the next month or two. And like I say, it's basically an accumulation of our top performers where there is a certain percentage allocated to each trader. This is the end goal because as we grow, the index will grow, our investment will grow, third-party capital will come in and will go into the INDX, which is a don't know what that, oh, it was one of my alerts. I am a trader, by the way, so I do often in these sessions, I get trade alerts pinged off and trading view alerts. So, and I changed the little notification sound. I think it was last week, so it still confuses me as to what it is. But back to the presentation anyway. So that's our roadmap to becoming a capitalized and professional asset manager through Darwinex Zero. So just to recap, with the calibration phase, it takes approximately 3 weeks for the risk engine to learn your behavior. It can take slightly longer in some instances, but usually it takes around 3 weeks. We want you to trade for 15 days minimum, and we want to see 25 trading decisions, which means opening and closing of a trade or holding overnight, for example. Soon as you're out of the calibration phase, your Darwin then becomes eligible for DarwinIA allocations and for your permanent allocation as well. To recap DarwinIA program, we have 2 different tiers or 2 different levels, which is silver and gold. It's run as a monthly competition, and this runs in tandem to permanent allocations. So already you have 2 different ways that you can earn performance fees through Darwinex Zero. In DarwinIA Silver, I mentioned that you have a rating. That rating is calculated by taking a look at your current month's return, your previous 5 months return, and your maximum drawdown over the previous 6 months. So overall, we're taking a snapshot of 6 months performance. And the reason we do this is because we don't want our traders being hindered by bad performance that they had a year ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago, for example. So what we do is we put a spotlight on your most recent performance for the past 6 months, and we reward you in DarwinIA allocation based off of that. So we have had traders in the past who have had an astronomically high drawdown. They've been underwater pretty much for the whole time, and we're talking 2 years. And then all of a sudden they turn it round and they end up getting DarwinIA allocation and start earning performance fees, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Now, it works a little bit different in DarwinIA Gold because we don't give the rating in DarwinIA Gold. We just judge your position on the DarwinIA leaderboard by how much return you generate in any given month. And therefore, whoever generates the highest return is going to get or receive the highest amount of allocation in that month. Again, recapping permanent allocations, you activate the add-on in your Darwinex Zero dashboard. We do have options with a growth target, but we also have an instant option, which I'm going to go over now. And as I said, it's exactly as advertised on the tin. It's 100,000 euros that's allocated to your Darwin permanently. It is held at risk adjusted level, so every cent of AUM goes into your Darwin and not into your Signal account. So whatever you produce at a risk adjusted level, that is where the AUM is held. Now, here are 5 options for permanent allocations. So we have instant option up to a 20% growth target, going in 5% increments. Now, the 5, 10, 15, and 20% is relative to your Darwin quote at time of purchase. So if I was to purchase a 5% permanent allocation and my Darwin quote was 100, so basically at break even, I would need to make 5% on my Darwin before the 100K is allocated to my account. As soon as it's allocated to my account, I can then earn performance fees on that 100,000 forever. Same with the 10%, same with the 15, same with the 20%. The only difference here is with the 0% or the instant option is as soon as you've purchased the add-on and activated it on your account, you can then earn performance fees on that 100,000 euros. Now, as any investment asset is, it is based on a high watermark basis. So you have to be consistently generating performance fees over years, but we will still pay you rewards for doing so. But what you couldn't do is make 5 or 10%, take a performance fee, and it gets reset. Make 5 or 10%, get reset. It is a high watermark basis, like I say, like any professional investment asset. And again, this is our commitment to you guys that we want to see you grow through the DarwinX Zero ecosystem. Now, what's important to know is, and not a lot of people realize this, is that we do have DarwinX Zero and we also have Darwinex. Darwinex is our FCA regulated broker. DarwinX Zero is our virtual environment using all of the software, technology, and thesis, let's call it, from Darwinex. It's two different paths, or I guess we could even say it's the same path, just 2 different ways to pay for the service. DarwinX Zero is, of course, a monthly subscription. So you pay a monthly subscription to access the service. In Darwinex, you don't pay a single penny, but of course, you're going to be paying broker commissions. So every trade you open, you know, you're going to be paying a commission on that, as you would with any broker through spread or trade commissions. You get access to DarwinIA allocations in both. You also get access to investors straight away through Darwinex, so you don't have to wait until you're in DarwinIA Gold. Darwinex is kind of more for our traders who are a little bit more confident and who are comfortable opening up a brokerage account and risking their own capital. DarwinX Zero is our zero risk option. You know your max expenditure each month is 38 euros a month. And for the guys who are happy paying a monthly subscription, but knowing that, you know, their pot of capital isn't at risk, DarwinX Zero is the better option for you. However, the important thing is, we do offer traders to migrate their track record from DarwinX Zero to Darwinex.com at any time that they want. What that means is that you won't lose your track record. You don't have to open up a new Darwin and then deposit funds into the broker and start a whole fresh track record. We can take the track record you built from your virtual account and we can translate that over into your live account as well. So it's important that you know that, because it's kind of a natural progression or a natural step of progression for most traders who are confident, who've built up a record and then want to start, you know, building their own wealth with their own pot of capital. It kind of makes sense to take your track record, migrate it to Darwinex and start trading with your own capital on top of DarwinIA allocations, on top of investor capital and Darwinex labs. Now, one of the most underrated parts of DarwinX Zero, in my opinion, and it's because I do so much work with our traders on this. I do one-to-one sessions. I send traders videos of me analyzing their Darwin. I do, like I said earlier, a public weekly call where we go over this sort of stuff. But we break your trading strategy down into so many different metrics. We take a look at so many different things and really try and pinpoint where you excel and what's holding you back as a trader. I love this kind of thing because I was a data analyst before I became a trader. So when I'm looking at statistics and metrics and trying to find patterns, I just really, really enjoy it. And like I say, I don't think many people appreciate this for what it is. Because if we did, we'd have a load more traders really working on their strategy consistently. What I think will be a game changer for this is we're actually looking to release a trading journal, which will work or coincide with all of these metrics and information. So for me, one of my biggest arguments was we give traders some of the most advanced information that you can find. We give them Monte Carlo test. We analyze how much alpha cap you have or max investment you have, i.e. how much capital you can actually trade with, and so many other different unique things. But we don't provide traders with a way to upload screenshots or take notes of a position. That we're looking to release so that you get access to all the advanced stuff, but you also get access to a trading journal where you can log your positions, you can take a screenshot and do all of that good stuff as well. Now, I did say last week, this screenshot, I must have left it in the presentation by accident, and it doesn't really belong here, but I decided to keep it in because I think it's an important one, even just for this session where we kind of take a brief overview of risk. Now, what our proprietary risk engine does is it takes your trading strategy, looks at your risk exposure, understands how much risk you take to generate a return, and then the risk engine adjusts your exposure to a value at risk of 6.5%, which mirrors the S&P 500's volatility. So that basically, not only are we leveling the playing field between all of our traders, meaning all of our traders operate with the same risk level, but what it also means is you've kind of got to beat the S&P to be attractive, right? So if the S&P is doing 12% on average per year with, you know, a max drawdown of 20%, let's say 25% on average, you have to outperform that to be attractive as an investment vehicle. Because if you can't generate the same return whilst taking the same risk as the S&P 500, there's kind of no point in taking on investor capital, because investors will be better off putting their money into the S&P. So that's why we use the barometer of 6.5%. Now, this is just a screenshot of the Signal account risk management, or the VAR chart that we provide to our traders. And you can see there's different arrows depending on whether the chart is trading above or below the VAR of 6.5%. If you're trading above a value at risk of 6.5% on your MetaTrader account or on your Signal account, as we call it at Darwinex Zero, the risk engine will look at you and go, well, you have a little bit too much exposure, and it will tune your trading size down at Darwin level. If you're trading underneath 6.5% value at risk, the risk engine will actually tune your strategy up. So for example, you might be taking on one lot on your Signal account, but your Darwin might take a 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, two lots, for example. And what's important to note is that this isn't directly correlated to how much percentage you risk per trade. For example, I'm a swing trader. I risk, or well, I would say I'm more of a position trader, but I risk 1% on any trade on my main track record, and I still operate under a value at risk of 6.5%. So don't think that your risk is being suppressed, because like I say, I still feel like I'm getting enough risk on the table, but I'm still operating below a 6.5% VAR. And as I mentioned, we do have a trading community full of like-minded traders. We also offer a partner program to anybody who wants to actively partner with us and spread the word about Darwinex Zero. So if you have a YouTube channel, if you have an active following, if you have a mentorship group and clients or students, we would be more than happy to see if we can work together. Obviously, you know, we want to work with the right people, so we don't just onboard anybody as a partner. We want to make sure that your ethics align with our ethics, and that you're out there promoting the right message about trading, because if you are, it's kind of a match made in heaven. We don't want any, you know, rich guru boys promoting Lamborghinis and Porsches and then buy a Darwinex Zero subscription. Doesn't matter. We want to work with good people and promote the right message together. And we also have a member get member scheme, which means that any trader on our platform has a unique member get member code, which means you can invite your friends, your family, your trading friends, whoever it may be, to Darwinex Zero. And for every trader who signs up and pays for 2 months subscription, we then credit you with 1 month's free access to Darwinex Zero. So if you were to bring 12 traders to Darwinex Zero, we basically give you a year for free. So it's well worth, you know, sharing the message, talking about Darwinex Zero, and getting your friends and family to come and join us. That is, if you have any friends and family. And at the moment, we're also running a discount, which is valid on all of our subscriptions. So on our 1 month, 1 year, and 3 year subscriptions, you can use the code DWX10 for 10% off. Now, if you do use that on a 3 year subscription, you also get a €200 coupon to put towards a permanent allocation as well. We did originally give 15% permanent allocations with the 3 year subscription, but then what we realized is some traders wanted the 5% or the instant option. So now we just give it in a coupon, which sits in your account until you purchase a permanent allocation. So just to finish off, guys, I'd like to ask if any of you have any questions, whether you're on YouTube, Discord, X, or watching wherever, please put it in the chat and I'll give you kind of 30 seconds to a minute. If nobody's put a question in, we can end the session here. But I'm happy to answer anything and everything Darwinex, Darwinex Zero, or trading related. Yeah, I can see Elias typing in the Discord. So I'll wait to see what your question is. Okay, so Elias said, I would like to join, but you are not in my country. Could you just tell me what country you're from? The main issue that we have with country selection isn't about the ability to offer our service, it's about our ability to get money to you. So what we do is, if we can't provide a good way to pay you in performance fees, i.e. if your banks don't accept transfers from our banks, we don't accept you as clients, purely because we don't want it to come into a struggle down the line where we can't get money to you. Turks and Caicos Islands, never heard of that. Send me a direct message and I'll see what we can do. But yeah, that's usually the biggest issue, is the fact that we can't physically get money across to you. So yeah, just send me a direct message on Discord, and like I say, I'll take it to the team and see if there's something that we can do, something that we can enable, or if it's just something that we've not looked into before. Guys, thank you all for joining. It's been a fantastic session. Elia, thank you for your question. If you do have any further questions, please feel free to jump in the Discord and message in there. Or, I mean, if you're not in the Discord, you need to be in the Discord. Let's face it, we're trying to get to 10,000 members and we want you in there. But if you need anything, any kind of one-to-one support, or if you've got any questions you want to go over, please just send me a direct message on Discord. My name's Kieran. I will always have the orange name in the server, so make sure you're actually messaging the right person, because I get about 10,000 fake accounts of me every single day. So ensure that you're doing that. But other than that, we will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. for a strategy development session where we go over all the metrics on Darwinex Zero and on Darwinex, see how we can fine tune your trading. So until then, guys, have a fantastic evening and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.